what kind of high performance nugget do you have for our viewers that they should inculcate in their daily practices if they are going to be high achievers?
Okay, if you're going after a big goal, you
Mm-hmm.
have to decide that you're going to do whatever it takes. So, whatever your goal is, just picture yourself. Everybody goes through the tunnel, and once you come out on the other side, you're an Olympian. I was always there in my mind.
So, do you think that visualization and sort of imagining them positively really helped you in terms of, setting that foot one after another?
Start functioning it. You're not watching a movie, you are in that movie. And the longer you live in that movie, then it becomes reality. It just takes time. So resilience is actually staying focused and taking as many one steps as you need to get to the finish line or to the goal, whatever you call it.
Welcome to another episode of Luxury Unplugged. This week again we have self-improvement focus. Today's episode is a powerful journey of resilience, of purpose and self-improvement. We have with us Yubim Kogan, a five-time immigrant, Olympic level athlete, a best-selling author and a founder of wingforheroes.org. And after a decade away, rebuilding from crisis, he has returned with profound lessons. Let's hear from him. Let's explore how self-improvement isn't just about growth, but about keeping promises to yourself and others. Welcome.
Thank you, Neeti. It's nice to be here.
Thank you so much to take some time out for us and for our viewers and help us understand from your story what nuggets can we have in our self-improvement journey. How can we learn from your lessons? Right? So let's get started.
Okay. It's a really good question. I think that the main thing that I would like to share with your listeners is that if you want to achieve things that are big, you have to have big goals. They have to come from the inside. I think in today's day and age, it's really difficult to get distracted or, as I say it, hijacked by, social media and seeing what other people have and what other people do. But for me, I was fortunate to experience life in many different countries and different continents. And I was fortunate to accomplish big goals. But the thing is that I did it all for me. I have never spent an extended period of time doing something for somebody else. In other words, chasing some flashy goal or dream was never important to me. But little things that some people think that why would you want to do something like that if it came from the inside? I always followed it, and I found that it's a lot easier to get through difficulties, and we all have difficulties on the way.
Right.
I think when you see it somebody's resume, it seems like things have come easily, but big things don't come easily to anyone. Everyone has to work through things. Everyone has to be dedicated. And if it's important to you, and especially if you love doing it, then it's a completely different game. So I'd say if you love the dream that you're going after, you have a very high probability of achieving it.
That is wonderful, actually. So now from that, I come to your dream of being an Olympic athlete and your story of getting into so many amazing things that you've been up to in terms of being the immigrant leader, humanitarian now. So how do you go about it? Like, what was the story that made you disappear for 10 years and now surfacing?
Okay, so I think we go back a little bit more than 10 years. I had financial practice during and before the financial crisis, and my claim to fame is that none of my clients lost money during the financial meltdown of 2008 and 2009. And that came from education. I went to New York University Stern School of Business. And one of my professors was a partner at Ernst & Young, which at that time was one of big five accounting firms. Now we have four, but he taught us to take the annual report, the pretty pictures that are shown, And he said, okay, this is for everybody else. Now we go to the back and we start reading the footnotes. And when I was just looking through a lot of different financial reports, and I found that Citibank had $50 billion. It was in the footnote saying that it's very highly that we will have to recognize that loss, which means for people who are not familiar with finances, it was a little note which said that with time it will become a loss recognized on the financial statements. And when everybody sees it on the financial statements, it's too late to act. And knowing how all the financial companies operate, I knew if Citibank has it, then they all have it. So I went and I talked to my clients. They agreed to move money out of the market. It wasn't enough for me. I started a radio show, and that radio show became so successful that in less than 1 year, I was in 7 different states on 11 different radio channels. And I saved a lot of people's financial future. And once the crisis hit, we were all out. And I don't know how, but out of that became an offer to do a symposium with Steve Forbes in New York City. And out of that, I got an offer to become a co-author and contribute to his book, which called Successonomics. It came out in 2013, and in 2014, it became the bestseller.
Lovely.
At the same year, if you look back, Russia annexed Crimea, and my place of birth was in real distress. That's actually when the war started. It wasn't full scale, but I was there and I saw a lot of people being scared and not knowing what to do. And it was the same thing as it was in 2008 and 2009, but for a different reason. And I had a chance to step up and lead a lot of people. And the way they were looking for somebody to save them, I just could not say no. So imagine this, I'm standing on the street. It's like, it's an avenue that has all the green lights. There are no cars. I can go as fast as I can and get anywhere I want. Working in the financial industry, with the book being the bestseller. In here, I have a lot of people who are looking for help. So I just I decided to stay. I didn't realize the consequences. I didn't realize what I was getting myself into, how difficult it will be. The decision was made on the spot. I had an opportunity and I said yes. And, looking back, it was one of the most difficult times for me. When you train for the Olympics, it's a really hard, grueling work for many years. And I told all my friends whom I went to the Olympics that it was harder than that. And they wouldn't believe me. Because when you train at high level in sports, you go out, you put out more than you have, or otherwise you just drop back. So tell me how embracing resilience has helped you during times of crisis and helped you in the times of, your personal transformation. I think it's not exactly embracing resilience, it's becoming resilient. You make that decision that I'm going to get through whatever comes my way. And what I found out is that no matter how big the task is, if you focus on the next step, the next logical, most important step that you have to take, that's how you get through difficult things. Because if you look at the big picture, and then you keep that big picture in mind, you see that it's so much bigger than you can, deal with or solve. Then you start doubting yourself, then you start becoming fearful, and then it's not resilience, it's just, going back and forth. But if you focus and you really bring all your attention to the task at hand and find the next step, you just keep taking that next step until you get to the end of that, proverbial tunnel, and you see the light. So resilience is actually staying focused and taking as many one steps as you need to get to the finish line or to the goal, whatever you call it.
Right. So in terms of lessons, from high performance environments like Olympics, what is really the champion mindset that you kind of you need to have for being an Olympic athlete? What kind of high performance nugget do you have for our viewers that they should inculcate in their daily practices if they are going to be high achievers?
Okay, if you're going after a big goal, You have to decide that you're going to do whatever it takes. Now, that's a really, it seems like, I don't know, maybe a cliche or something. It really is, you say, I am going to get there. And in my mind, I was always there. People write books, how you see, you have to look from the end. Well, basically looking from the end was, I'm going to be walking through the Olympic corridor, because it's an Olympic tunnel. Everybody goes through the tunnel, and once you come out on the other side, you're an Olympian. I was always there. In my mind, I was always there.
So there was no back and forth in your mind? Never?
No. And I think that the people who make it, the difference is that they never go back. That faith, that 100% certainty that I am there, it's always there.
Wow.
There are times, when you have injuries and you have things that come your way, you may pause to take a break, but really I never gave up that dream. In my mind, I was there already. It was just a matter of time.
Right.
And with any big goal, I am there. I wanted to write a book. Then I wanted to become a bestseller. Then I wanted to be in the same room with billionaires. I just imagine I'm there. So anything that came my way, it was just it was like an obstacle, like a puddle that you have to step over to get to the other side of the street. Just like that.
Right. So do you think that visualization and sort of imagining them positively really helped you in terms of, setting that foot one after another?
I would make it really clear. You see yourself there. It's not imagination of getting process. You are there. Like in your mind, in our mind, we can imagine anything.
Beautiful.
So whatever your goal is, just picture yourself, you're there. Start functioning it. You're not watching a movie. You are in that movie. And the longer you live in that movie, then it becomes reality. It just takes time. And a lot of times people never had the experience to know that in between you dream something and it becomes physical, there is a period of time. And nobody knows what that period of time is. For somebody it could take 50 years, 60 years, like Colonel Sanders, the guy who invented KFC. I think he was 72 or 73 when somebody says, yes, we're going to try your sauce and we're going to bring it to the market. And, the guy went his whole life, he was nobody. And then at the end of his life, he suddenly overnight became a success.
Yeah.
So you will get there, but it's not on your schedule.
Right. And you have to be okay with that. To be successful at that level, you need to have that kind of tenacity to still carry on with your goals, despite whatever the reality is looking like.
Yeah, that's what you said is an explanation, a very good explanation of I will do whatever it takes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so some of the diverse roles that you are having now as a humanitarian, and you talk about being an immigrant as well. So what are some of the the lessons that we could have from that aspect of your life?
Well, I think when you're an immigrant, you need to really be clear that your experience is going to be different from everybody else. And as an immigrant, you have to travel some distance to be on the playing field with other people.
Right.
So if you come from another country, it will be a lot of work to just become equal. But then after that, you can play and you can, try to win whatever game you're playing. But just expect that it will take a lot of work.
Right. So in terms of service and mission-driven work that you're doing right now, what are the conventional success metrics that you are going beyond, that you're trying to achieve through your organization?
I believe, like my personal belief is that if I saved one life, I saved the whole world. And my metrics was the first guy that came I'm a paragliding pilot. So one of their experiences is take him up in the sky, and the idea is that if you scare somebody to death, they will forget that they're missing legs. That is really how the whole idea started. That there is this moment when you go off the mountain, your subconscious mind knows that I don't belong in the air, this is not my element, this is something that is wrong. So in that moment, like for me, first time, I said goodbye to my dad. I said goodbye to my brother. I thought I was going to die, and I could not remember one problem I was having. And that was like in the thickness of dealing with all the issues in Ukraine, running a nationwide company when there is a war going around you. So I was like, I forgot everything, and I think they will forget. So the first person who came to fly, he actually has an open invitation to come at the opening of the season, at the end of the season. He came in April. We went to a physical therapist who said, look at his only leg. His muscles, because he's putting so much pressure on it all the time, they're getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and they're pressing on the sciatic nerve, which is the longest nerve that goes from your spine to bottom of your leg. She said it can push in his disc and he will become paralyzed. Well, he's 23 years old, so the matrix for me was after we completed one event, there is a period of time until you get funding to bring the next group. But we had to bring him right now. So matrix for me was from April till May. I had to get him back in May. He landed last night. Today we had the first physical therapy session. He will spend here 1 month and we will save his leg. And if we can save a 23-year-old the only leg he has, it will save his life. So that was the matrix for me, and it's just happening right now. We did the physical therapy. I dropped him off at the beach for sunset. My matrix is seeing, and we have volunteers who are spending time with him. There are 5 or 6 guys that are just, they're playing music, they're enjoying it, and he is feeling cared for, and he knows that it's his only one chance. If we waited for another month or 2 or 3, it would be too late. So my matrix is when these men and women come back defending us, defending our freedom, so you and I can have this conversation, so I don't have to worry about running into a bomb shelter, which is the reality for people in Ukraine. I really feel this gratitude and obligation to fulfill the promise that the society makes, like, you go protect us and we come back. When you come back, we'll take care of you. So when I take care of 1, 2, 3 people, that is my matrix. It's just really clear. And in this case, his name is Valik. He needed 1 month of physical therapy. He started today. So it's a big win.
Awesome.
It's one of the biggest wins in my life. I'm super excited that we made it possible.
Very, very nice.
Yeah.
Many congratulations to you for that.
Now, one thing for the listeners, even small wins, you have to celebrate them, because sometimes, people are going after big goals, like every little thing, whatever is on your to-do list. Sometimes you may be overwhelmed with so many things. It's just saying, even if you're checking off little boxes, that is the matrix. You have a list of things to do, and if you're getting through your list and not putting it off until later, which never comes, right? That is a big deal. Getting things done now.
Well, actually, that was my next question, and the last question, that how can leaders apply, self-improvement principles in terms of rebuilding and inspiring teams during the time of collapse or uncertainty? What do you think about that?
That goes back to taking the next step. When you are so overwhelmed that you don't know, just know that inside of you there is endless power. And some people unfortunately go through their life and they never find that out. That little doubt, like I tell people, look, I have 2 compasses. One compass is in my head and one is in my heart. Like when our heart speaks, you have this, like, I want to do this. Do you know the feeling that
yes,
maybe
absolutely.
different for everybody, but it comes from here and it like moves all of you. But then this compass starts talking, oh no, this is a bad idea, blah, 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 blah. So it's really important when the times are like this, you gotta go in here. And I call it, my quiet hour. I get up at 4 a.m. when everybody's sleeping. I don't need an alarm because I enjoy that time so much. And that's when I sit and feel like, am I doing the right thing? And if it comes from this compass, I just take the next step and I take the next step. Sometimes I'm a human being, Sometimes I get overwhelmed. It's getting out of bed. and making a phone call or sending an email, or saying yes to come on your show, because it's always, when you are on camera, everybody gets nervous, So whatever it is you have to do, just do one thing and do it right now. And you'll come to the next thing, do the next thing. Don't think that I'm going to have this perfect plan and until I see the whole thing, I'm not going to start doing anything. No, it's okay. If you take the wrong step, you'll see it right away. You can change. So moving forward, and doesn't matter, big steps, little steps. Sometimes it's going to be like a sprint, you'll just cover half the way, and sometimes it will take you half a year to do like one small thing, because like I said, it's not on our schedule.
Right.
One step at a time.
And that's a beautiful nugget right there, one step at a time. So thank you so much for sharing such a profound story of resilience and purposeful self-improvement journey, which not only helps you, but others as well along the way. It's a true growth story, and definitely we'd like to have you again on the show sometime to understand how your purpose has driven and fueled your transformations, not only for you, but for others. So thank you so much for your time today.
Neeti, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for creating this space, because in our day and age, I think it's extremely important. We've been hijacked by, chasing flashy things, but to sit down and answer like really genuine, honest questions in the very safe environment. I really appreciate you doing it, and I hope this was valuable for you and
this
your
has
listeners.
been very valuable for me and for my listeners, and that's why I say please come back again on the show. Thank you so much, Lucian.
Thank you so much, Neeti. Thank you.
Bye.